our sports here. We had all the teams, as far as overall participation, you'll see that shortly, so we had for Green County the most amount of participants. We had 3 teams for basketball, 1 team for bowling, 2 teams for boys volleyball, 3 teams for girls basketball, 3 teams for wrestling, which included the girls, and then a cheer team, which we brought back 2 years now. Boys basketball didn't have the greatest of years, but it was more of a learning curve for them this year. But we did have an all-star with Robbie Hughes, who was a senior this year. Overall, the JV and modified programs were very successful, and the future is bright. Boys basketball programs and the highlights. Shared this with you, so I'm not going to go through every single highlight here. You were able to watch, to read this. The bowling program, Mary is now in her 5th year there, and the record doesn't show the hard work that has been going on there. They have a very young team, and they finished overall in the Platoon Conference Tournament 5th, which was pretty outstanding for a team that was kind of towards the bottom of the league most of the year. So they improved at the right time. The girls basketball program was probably our most successful program with wrestling this year. They ended up going into sectionals. We had a MVP, Riley Sitzer, who I believe is our 2nd MVP at Coxsackie-Athens ever for girls basketball. And they had a first team all-star with Baylor University as well. And the girls program overall has been very successful over the last few years under the guidance of Sarah. The boys volleyball had a change in head coach this year. Lucille Mazzillo took over. This was her first year as the boys coach, varsity coach, I should say, because she was there for the modified for the last couple of years. And then her husband Sam took over the modified program. Now, they had a close to 500 record, but they didn't have much upperclassmen on the team. They only had 1 senior there, so they were a young group, and hopefully we'll see much improvement in the years to come. And in wrestling, you could say that it was definitely our most successful individually too. We had Joseph Martinez with our heavyweight man of the year, MOW man. Most outstanding. Thank you. And then our first team all-stars, who actually we had some Times Union all-stars in there too, which I'll talk about shortly. We had Neil Murphy, Max Wilson, Dylan Hitzer, and Brendan Wojtowicz. Our second team all-stars were Robert Cox, Noah Wilson, Keelan Pilato, Drew Cox, Armin Parenti, and Thomas Gibney. The team won the Platoon Conference this year, and they were the Section 2 champions for their 3rd year in a row. They probably went into that Section 2 championship with one of the favorites, but not expected to win, so it was a nice accomplishment for them to come out on top. Some of the season highlights I do want to point out, we did have Joseph Martinez was a Class C and Section 2 champion this year. We also had 3 wrestlers get 100 wins for their career. That was Joseph Martinez, Max Wilson, and Neil Murphy. And then we had 3 state qualifiers who, right at the top, Joseph Martinez, Breaker Cox, and Neil Murphy, all went on to the MVP arena and competed in the state tournament. Bowling. I don't know why this is varsity bowling, sorry about that. Varsity cheer. Tiffany Peruzzi was in her 2nd year. I think she's doing a terrific job in trying to bring that back. We had a couple year hiatus, and she had a nice group of girls that I think that were a little bit younger, 7th to 9th grade, and I see that turning itself around shortly. Here were the numbers in comparison for Greene County. We had 163 athletes competing this year for the winter. Carroll Durham 121, Greenville 137, and Catskill 144. In comparison in school size, Catskill is a much, I wouldn't say much bigger school than us, but they are a bigger school than us. And Greenville and Carroll Durham were right in the same boat. Injury report, I mean, that's something if you want to ask questions, you can do that. And then the last part of this presentation is about team uniforms. It was brought up to me, and I'm sure you guys have heard this already, that some of the coaches would like to start utilizing one of our three colors a little bit more predominantly with the color black. Right now, our school colors are royal blue, white, and we use gray, and we also use black depending on what the uniform is. As I start to begin to order uniforms for next year, we wanted to get kind of an opinion on what you guys thought and go forward with that. To incorporate more of a solid black into some of our uniforms. Here is a couple examples. This was our football team this year. This was their third uniform that they purchased with their own money, their own budget money. Nothing that the school purchased, that they could wear on special occasions like senior night. This was wrestling as of recent. Some of the singlets that they have put together. This was the volleyball team who actually, these uniforms have been around for about 5 years now. They're reversible, they're blue on the other side. So they are actually due for new uniforms. And this is a mock-up jersey of what the girls were thinking about trying to get this year. So this is for girls soccer. This is an example of what a coach may want to have. So athletic director, a couple things that I wanted to talk about quickly is the late practices due to limited facility space. That's some out of our control, right? But it's just something I wanted to point out. High school gym not adequate and needs attention. I'm sure that is being brought to our attention today. The gym floors, we talked about this. I've talked about this in length with Palmer and Tesmali. Just making sure how we can get these finished and prepped before the season starts, and then maintain possibly over that next holiday break. We talked about the gym floors with the constant bad weather, kids using the facilities, recess in the middle school gym, and so forth. They need to be cleaned consistently. And we're talking about getting a huddle camera into the high school gymnasium for winter contests. Both gymnasiums need an upgrade in the sound system. The middle school sound system is dated from the day it was built. The high school gym, I don't even know if I have one, to be quite honest, with the proper wiring. And one of the things that I'd like to try to do is start finding an announcer. We do an announcer for our football games currently right now, but I'd like to try to do that for our basketball games. And then I'm going to be working on a plan to try to get more teachers involved in coaching. I think we have a good handful amount of teachers now, but I feel that teachers make the best coaches because they are present. And the bus that was brought up actually earlier, this is something that we cannot do, but something that I wanted to talk about. Appreciation for you guys, for Mr. Squire, for Mr. Palmer. I appreciate all the support, and if you guys have any questions at this point, I'd be more than happy to address. And there's a couple of pictures that we have. Yes.
I noticed there was 8 students in the cheer program.
Yep.
Is that just done in the winter time only?
That is just done in winter time only.
Has there been any discussion to expand that and to have the cheer team available for fall sports?
Well, I will say that it has been brought up, but it's something that I'm not going to entertain at this time. Right now, we're struggling to find enough participants in the fall for females because it is a dominant season for female sports between field hockey, soccer, volleyball, cross country, tennis, golf. We're spreading our females thin.
Understood. So I guess so as you're telling this, I'm thinking about, is there any way to incorporate some other type of group to be at soccer events and football events to a little more organized and for team spirit? type
So
of thing?
one of the things that I have talked to the coaches this past season in the winter is that I'm going to ask them to be present with their programs, with their teams at other team sporting events. And we're going to start out small, where it'll be one or two events that they're going to be required to be asked to come to spectate. I think that'll be a nice starting point. One of the goals that I am looking to do is even arrange some schedules. So, the girls are playing opposite of the boys, so that creates a little bit of an opening for more students to come to games, on the varsity level. But in regards to like a cheer squad or something along those lines, I have not entertained that at this time.
This is my second question. It involves our next capital project.
Mm-hmm.
The facilities committee, as you know, we've been to some of our meetings recently and gave us your input early on about some of the things that we should consider. And I think this may be a good opportunity with the full board here, if you want to talk about any items, if we were to do any overhaul of our current field on our CA campus, if there's certain things that you would be looking for. I can tell you that the facilities committee is about 85% through our recommendations, put together to present to the board, and the last item we have to look at right now on priorities is what we can do and cannot do with our fields on the Coxsackie campus based upon the budget we want to stay within.
Sure.
So if you have any thoughts you might want to speak to the total board about.
I can share my presentation or my write-up I gave it to you if you would like, but I think speaking off the cuff here is, we've talked about getting an additional baseball, softball field there. Having one field for 3 teams is very difficult. Most of the time, modifieds are left out with a practicing on a real field. It also alleviates the opportunity to play multiple games at a time, where I could have modifieds and say JV or modifieds and varsity playing on the same day, where we can't really do that right now. It also brings the varsity team, baseball team in particular, home. And then I kind of created a little bit of a plan where, it's a little bit of a map, so to speak, where a layout of fields could be to create a little bit more of a community vibe, spirit, where teams and games are playing near each other. So you as a, say, softball dad could be also watching the baseball team at the same time and enjoying that. Another recommendation that I had would be to expand the CE gym to allow a bigger space, not only for teams to practice in to help maybe alleviate some of that practice, those late practice nights, but also to get more communities involved, community programs involved. That's a pretty tight space in there. Being a parent now in this district and having my kid going through the basketball program, that PAL, it's a little tight in there. In this way, you could actually adjust those basketball hoops to certain heights of their age appropriateness. I'm sure with Ryan's youth wrestling program, a bigger space for our community would be better. This also allows, we have community basketball here right now, so where community basketball could be over there, we could be using our high school space, and we wouldn't have to kick them out of the high school when we have a practice league, depending on certain nights. And just little things like that. And then a couple of the other minor things for outdoors, I think one of the major things here is what I'm trying to do in the future is bring more Patroon Conference and sectional championships here, and I think that we are in a good place with so this year I have brought in the track and field sectional championship, which is the first time in our facility. One of the things that we are going to have to plan for is the restroom areas, the concession areas to host that many people. We are probably going to have to we only have 2 porta potties out there right now, and that's doable for our league meets, but for something bigger, or even on the nights where we host night games, at which we get a lot of people here, football, soccer kind of thing. I talked about expanding to having outdoor restrooms and possibly a concession as well with running water. So
Great.
those are just a few things that I touched on. Yeah.
You have tryouts, you have kids try out for teams in high school. What's that process look like?
So it depends on which team it is, right? So some teams got, some teams don't. So we'll take, for example, baseball, right? If you have too many kids on a baseball team, it's very difficult to get them in because of the substitution pattern, right? It's not like basketball where you can sub them in and out. So if you have too many kids on the team, ultimately you're just not going to be able to get them in. So in a situation like modified, you usually get quite a bit of people trying out, and we do a rubric. So it'll be based on throwing, hitting, catching, fielding, and there'll be a 1 to 5 scale. We usually have multiple coaches in there observing and evaluating. Like for baseball, for example, this year we had the modified head coach, we had the JV head coach, and then we had 2 volunteers in there as well. So then they would sit down and discuss, where do you want to be, how many do we want to keep, so forth and so on, and then have that discussion of whether we keep them or not.
So there's a general number you have in mind for when you decide to.
Right, so, and like modified basketball actually gets quite a bit of people too. And I know that the girls program, they've had 17, 18 this year. A good number is usually for me is like 15 on that, for that level. Because not only is it difficult to not develop some of the other kids when you have too many, but some of those kids are going to eventually get lost. And this would be an opportunity for them to go try something else. But if they don't make the basketball team, maybe they can go try volleyball, which only had 8 kids on it. Maybe they can go try modified wrestling, which I think only had 8 or 9 kids on it as well. So it gives them an opportunity to try something else as well.
As far as the colors of the uniforms, what are some of the thoughts that are who's going to make that decision, and what are some of the thoughts behind it?
Well, really what happens is I ask the coaches to mock up jerseys that they like. They present them to me, and then I present them to Ryan and Ray. And then we have a discussion and go from there.
Do the kids have the same?
In
Do they get to vote?
on the jersey, not usually, usually because whether it's trying to come up with a budget or now with uniforms recently within the last year or 2, they're sublimated, so it's a little bit different because you were usually getting charged for numbers or logos or whatever else you may have had on it. Now with the sublimation of uniforms, it makes it a little bit easier. So for me personally, I would maybe run it by a couple of captains, but usually it's not a whole group. Sometimes too many cooks in the kitchen can't make everybody happy.
Well, one of the concerns when we went from switching our mascots was our committee had talked about school colors. And a big thing that they had talked about was that there wasn't really consistency over the years. And we had many discussions, I felt like, on where we were trying to go with the school and what the path should look like so that everybody can have that school spirit and show and wear the school colors. And a big thing was wearing our royal blue and our white and having black more of an accent color, but not be our main focus. So that's where, when it was brought up to us at the last meeting, it was a concern of mine because I had to lead that committee, and a lot of it was very unanimous that everybody wanted to make sure that we stayed school colors. And even just looking at some of the pictures that you posted, you wouldn't really be able to tell that it was a CIA team that was playing if you didn't know the kids.
Yeah, I
So
think, I understand and respect that concern, and quite honestly, I don't really mind either way, whichever decision that you guys want to go with, or they want to go with, or whoever, it doesn't really bother me one way or another. I will say that what some of the coaches' concerns were is there's a lot of blue in our league. And so when there's a lot of blue in our league trying to decipher, let's separate ourselves a little bit here and there, I get that, and I understand that you want to have a little bit of uniqueness to your jersey, or you want to separate yourself. And being able to do that with some of these jerseys allows that individualism to separate yourself from other teams. But I understand your concern. And like I said, whatever you guys want to decide is which.
Yeah, it's hard because we just made the switch, so like we want to make sure that we have like.
And
not
we'll say our
just
Riverwalk is black.
He does have black in it, but it's the black accents that make it so that the blue and white pop. That's why we had kind of colored him that way, was so that you would see that. But even some of the ones, like, there's no Riverhawk on that new soccer one anywhere. It just was CA. So like,
And I mean, that could be always.
you know what I'm saying? So like if we're trying to instill the new school spirit and our new logo and advocates showcasing it, then where is it in some of our newer pieces that we're.
I will, there, heard that one jersey did say Riverhawk on it. Maybe it was all, maybe it was the Hulk one, or the white one, whatever, it said Riverhawk. One said Coxsackie-Athens, the other said Riverhawks. The new baseball jerseys that we got, granted they are blue, but they do say Riverhawks across the chest, so.
And they're nice. The ones that just came in
Thank you.
are really nice.
So you did blue,
I did.
so maybe we should stay with blue. That's your already just purchased.
I will just say,
Yeah, I did just purchase those, the ones in the middle last year. So, I mean.
but even the ones
that
that
right there
were
is
older
nice.
with the blue kind of wrapped around, those wrestling, I mean, I'm not a wrestling fan, but I will say, those singlets are sharp.
Are you talking the ones on the right? The ones on the right?
Yeah, the ones that they've had even before.
No, I would never do white, but like just some blue in there where it's like,
No, but they
that's
did
our
look sharp.
representation is blue, not just full black, but there's, I use this as an example, you weren't here, but when I was in, high school, they asked us for who knows what reason, and, our girls varsity team decided on Caroline blue. That was those lovely uniforms that you had for the longest time. Why though? Like, there should be some guidance where we could stick,
No, I
you know,
understand that.
so.
We won't be ever going with Carolina Blue.
No, thank goodness.
So,
And they
but
were-
I think that, I was trying to stay with.
Caro, Coxsackie, all had identical uniforms.
So the team, right there with the Riverwalk, you see the Riverwalk, we're just doing that. Those colors are the ones that we're choosing from. But, I mean, like I said, you guys can have that discussion.
I mean, I'm open-minded to incorporating another color into our school colors. I mean, change the mascot. So, change the color would be a lot more easier. Or to add color, I think would be a little bit easier in the conversation.
Well, just using those three colors on the uniform, you can, it's fine, it just depends on which predominant color you want to go with.
What I'd like to see is just some more uniforms to choose from as a board member, if we have to make that decision, what they would look like.
You want to see the mock-ups
Yes.
of every time we have
No,
New uniform.
This initial time is what you're saying.
Oh, just right now.
Like near the back of the
Here.
other sports.
Oh, there's sports, okay. Well, I actually have to put some mock-ups together for basketball and volleyball, so I'll show it.
Yeah, great. Nothing, keep it simple.
Yeah, no, definitely, I think that's good.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
I'm Kate Marr. I teach Spanish at the high school, but the last couple of years I've been the peer mentoring coordinator, also at the high school and middle school. So I did present last year. It's nice to see some familiar faces and be here with you tonight. I brought 3 very brave high school mentors with me tonight, so they'll be speaking about their experience with the program. So this is a full group shot. Not everyone was here. And just kind of to review the goals of why we started this program at the high school is to create positive peer role models, to respond to the community setting and any needs with social emotional development. Mentoring the data has shown that all 3 of those improve. I am so nervous right now, so incredibly nervous. Okay, so the benefits,
Just pretend it's just.
you're a bunch of 9th graders, right?
They don't even speak Spanish.
Okay.
No Spanish.
Un poco más cómodos. The peer mentoring benefits for both the mentor and the mentee. It's mutually beneficial for both sets of kids. And ownership, accountability, relationship building, mutual trust, there's a sense of belonging, a community connection, all of these kind of contribute to protective factors to keep kids connected and in school within our community. So just an overview of what we did this year. It's slightly different than last year. This year it's a full year course, 40 minutes, periods every other day. So we meet 9th period on B days at the high school. It is a pass-fail course. It is required group discussion. You cannot be in this class without discussing in the whole group. We do collaborative projects and resources. We create resources. This is a really boring slide, but this is our curriculum that I put on the syllabus for the kids. These are soft skills. This curriculum is adapted from the New York State Health Education curriculum that we have here. So I've kind of adapted it to our needs here with this class, but we've done communication, we've done stress management and self and relationship management this year. So semester 1 was more curriculum based. We learned these skills. I taught direct lessons. There was a lot of discussion and group work and activities. And these high school mentors, we have 13 of them this year compared to our 3 last year. So the program is growing, which is good. But also a lot more pressure as well. With the introduction day, the mentors met the middle school mentees. They can range from 6th, 7th, or 8th grade this year. Right before Christmas break on December 22nd. I need to give a shout out to Sharon Schultz and Kate Collier because without them, this program could not work. Yes, I'm in the classroom with the high schoolers, but I liaise with them multiple times a week to get this thing coordinated with the high school between the 2 buildings. So I need to give them a really great shout out. So helpful, 100% buy-in there. They see the benefits of this program and the way it works with the kids. Semester 2, mentor and mentee, we call them meetups. We meet up twice a month. They do choice board activities, pairs with mentor-mentee, small group with like 4 to 5 kids. And recently we started doing whole group activities. Now that we all kind of know each other, we played a real fun Kahoot today, and they were very into it. In-class reflection questions, and then in the mentoring high school class, we do circle discussions on how to improve. I want my high school mentors to give feedback. I want them involved in how to improve and what they need to, be the best role models that they can be. So these discussions at the end of our reflection sessions have really been quite beneficial for the improvement of the entire program. So with that, I will let these wonderful young ladies step forward.
Hello, I'm Brenda McDonald. I'm a junior in Coxsackie-Athens. I joined this class last year, so I was one of the original 3. And as you can city limit. Last year. I really love this program. I was new to the district last year, and I thought that this was like a perfect way to kind of integrate into the school, get to know the younger kids, help the younger kids with anything that I could. Last year, I was in a significantly smaller group, only 3 kids compared to this year. It was really hard, I found, to get only 3 kids to sort of open up because it was such a small group. But once they became more comfortable, it was really amazing to see how they would open up. I think that this program is a really great way to build a community and give kids confidence and help them learn certain conflict resolution skills and just become the best version of themselves.
Hi, I'm Gabby, I'm a sophomore, and when I joined the mentor because like it's me, I like have a whole bunch of younger siblings, and like I wanted to like be more social and like see like more of the people in my grade and in my school district, and I also wanted to like mentor the middle school kids because it would be like great for them. And in the beginning when we first got paired up, some of us, like including me, got paired up with someone and then they never came back because they either like didn't come to school or they like didn't like want to do the program or something like that. So for like a few weeks I had no mentee at all. But then we ended up getting a couple of other like kids so like I got paired up with someone else. I got paired up with Brian and stuff like that, and we like had at least like 4 meetups together and stuff. And we like really connect and stuff like that. Like we usually we have these things called choice boards where we can like choose the activities we want to do. And then a couple of times we did the activities with different foods. And like we also like give them like high school tours and see them us walking. They give us like high school tours so like you can like show them around the high school, because when I first came to high school I didn't know where I needed to go. So I think it's also a good opportunity to show the middle schoolers like an idea of where to go in the high school. So like when they go to high school, they're like,
Hi everybody, my name is Amanda Frank, and I joined the peer mentoring program solely because when I get older, I want to be an educator. I want to be in a school building, I want to be a teacher, and I want to do what I know most people in this room do, including this one. But I took this program because from my memory, being in middle school, I always wanted somebody in the high school to look up to, or even someone in the high school to know my name. I wanted someone that I could see once a week or once every other week and be like, okay, I know you, you know me, and this is so cool because I feel amazing because someone older than me knows my name and wants to communicate with me on a willingly basis. And my wonderful mentee, her name is Tegan. She's amazing. She's so sweet and kind, but enough about her. Back to the program. Our first meetup, it was very rocky, and I think we can speak for all of us. We didn't know what to expect and what to walk into, and I think the mentors and the mentees both felt the same way about that situation. We were nervous. We didn't know the kids before we met them. But now we're probably on our 9th, 10th meetup, I think, after today. We have gone from a hi, how are you? How's your day going? Did you enjoy your day? How was classes? To now sharing more common interests with each other and getting to express what we like and what we don't like. And I think another good thing is that we were doing yes, no, maybe questions, our first couple meetups, and icebreaker questions. We were getting to learn about the kids, learning about their interests, learning about what they wanted to do, who they wanted to become, and especially on the basis of high school, we were learning what classes were they looking forward to, what did they want to take, and it was such a fun experience, and all the kids are so amazing. And I can speak for myself, and I think Gabby and Riley can vouch for me. I think all of our confidences from the mentors and even the mentees has grown significantly. Me being able to stand here and talk in front of you, I don't know if I could have done this last year when I was a sophomore. Like, I'm not as nervous because I can be able to vocalize with people that I don't think I would have known if I did not take this course. I'm able to communicate with younger children, which of course I want to do in the future, becoming an educator. But I think it's going to be so much more easier because You know, we learned communication skills, we learned self-management skills, and all of these other skills in the beginning of the year before we even met the kids, that we were able to have this grasp underneath us to really be able to know how to do this and be able to do it confidently and well. And I think everyone has grown significantly, and I'm super proud of the program. And I'm very happy for Ms. Moore to be able to keep it. Thank you.
So last month, we had a full day of training, 6 whole hours, learning about different student practices and ways to build a community. There was a lot of great discussion, and we were able to learn a lot about each other and what was going on in middle school. I found this to be a really effective and educational way to learn about our community and ways to build a sort of school culture and different ways to overall improve the school.
So what are the next steps for the 24 and 25 school year, 2024, 25 school year? I mean, we should make like a vision board or something like that, right? So we have a lot of ideas, and we're building this slowly but surely. As you can just hear from these wonderful young women, it's working. And I've seen the growth in the high schoolers as well as the middle schoolers with their confidence and connection. I mean, just a couple of things that we brainstormed is having this year, our mentors bring a buddy from the high school into the meetups so they can see what's going on. So maybe those students will sign up to be mentors next year. We have thought about next year implementing sort of a mentoring club so that the previous year's pairs can continue to meet, but logistics are not quite there yet. I mean, this is a dream. Remember, dream, vision board, if we could have anything, right? So we are thinking about the future, and it's because of young people like these 3 young ladies is that we are able to do it, because they are 100% in and they see the difference that they are making, so. That's all we have, thanks.
This is a great thing. I know we all are really happy to see it. Like we've been doing all other different things, but just to hear about the kind of experiences you had and how you're going to use it in your future, maybe you, because it's just valuable experiences that will help in so many different ways. And you don't know this, but this board has talked about mentors for Art's been here a couple of years. So Art, so we've talked a lot about this. So this is really gratifying. I think that, and thank you and your co-workers for your work. And one of the things that we like to know if there's anything you think that we can do to support you. Not that you have to answer that now, but if there's anything you can let us know. Because we want this to flourish like you would. This is a wonderful thing, and a wonderful thing for you too.
I think it's great that you can acknowledge that you've grown because of this program, and that's wonderful. On its own merits, let alone with everything else you've been involved in.
And you're also here too.
I just think you guys are just great ambassadors for CA. To do what you do takes a lot of courage. One question I have is, how many mentees have you touched in your program or have been exposed to you?
Over the course of the 2 years?
Or a year, whatever, this year?
Well, last year we had 3 high schoolers and 3 middle schoolers. So it was a real small group. There were 7 of us. We got to know each other well.
Okay.
This year we have 13 in our class, 13 high schoolers. So that's essentially 13 middle schoolers as well. So a total of 26 secondary students this year. Yeah, so.
I just want to point out, I think, Amanda, you were Rotary Student of the Month, I saw.
I was, yes.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
To all of you, good luck with the program.
And thank you for doing it.
You were all amazing, thank you. I have one question. I think I heard from someone about some students sort of dropping out or pulling back some of their fees, going back. On your vision board, do you think that you'll be developing some strategies to kind of make them feel more comfortable to stay in?
Yes, I think we're going to, I think in that case, there was a couple of 8th graders that had dropped out. I think next year on my vision board, I've targeted more 6th graders, so the age difference is a little bit, when I have a sophomore and an 8th grader, it's different than a sophomore and a 6th grader. And thank goodness for Sharon Schultz, because she really does the family outreach. So I think we're gonna together target more 6th grade and coordinate that with their schedules. Hopefully they will.
Is the high school class open for 9 through 12, or is it?
It's open 10 through 12. We decided that having them wait their freshman year, because that transition from 8th to 9th is such a big jump for some adolescents, that will give them the year, the 9th grade year to acclimatize to the high school, and then open it up to 10, 11, 12. So. Nice job.
Thank you.
I've got a budget update for you guys today. There's our agenda. We're just going, I'm going to post to you a balanced budget today and show you how we got there, the expenditures, revenues, and then our budget to budget comparison. So just a quick summary of the timeline that has got us here. It started with a facilities committee meeting way back on February the 1st. And here we are 2 full months later, and we are looking at a balanced budget that is in your agenda tonight, should you choose to adopt it. Your balanced budget amount is $36,999,000, which is a change, obviously, from last year. We'll get into the exact numbers in just a moment, but the whole goal here is to get our expenditures and revenues to the exact same number that we have. So how did we get there, right? So we've got our expenditure shift, okay? Our biggest shift this year happened in BOCES. We've talked about this quite a bit. That BOCES increase is not only due to additional services, but primarily due to the influx and the number of students attending BOCES special education programs. That is kind of a new trend we're seeing, is more students are going into the BOCES programs because BOCES is doing a good job at evaluating what the school district's needs are across the area and providing those resources for us. Fringes went up, right? Health insurance is getting more expensive. I'll get into the nitty-gritty of fringes actually right now, because the district did decide for pharmacy, for high-level prescription drugs, to go to Prudent RX, which actually brought down our high mark increase from 23.1% down to a 13.1% increase, which I still can't believe I'm bragging about a 13.1% increase because it's still absurd, but such is life in the insurance industry right now. BOCES, again, we see an increase, salaries, we see an increase based on the contracts that we have across our district. Our big 5 special ed salaries, health and dental, retirement, and transportation continue to be our big influencers in our budget. Again, the largest that we do see is in salaries. We saw a 1.98% change. Okay, when we initially started this budgeting process, that was in the 7% range. And after looking at a few things, we were able to get that down to 1.98. Special ed, we do see that 18.1. That is a subset of what I just talked about before with the increase of students attending BOCES sponsored programs. Retirement rates are set by the state. We really don't have a whole lot of control over that. Basically, it's a percentage of our salary total. Also included in every year is the ability to put forth what's called a capital outlay project. The capital outlay project is aidable up to $100,000. So every year we like to look through our district and ask, what can we do for $100,000? Truth be told, you can't really do a whole lot for $100,000. It used to be a big number. It's actually been proposed to the governor now for, I know, at least the last 2 years. I'm sure it's been more than that, to get up to $250,000, but it's $100,000. After discussing this with the facilities committee on February the 1st, we really wanted to target our efforts on the middle school and high school gym area to improve some of the current structures that we have in there. Some of those include our basketball hoops that are pretty outdated. They are inspected every year, they are safe, but they are outdated. In essence, we do need to fix them. Our bleachers, they're old. So all in all, if we wanted to redo the whole thing, we're looking at nearly a $200,000 expense, okay? We know we can't do that. We don't intend to do that. We're only aided up to $100,000. What we were able to do is dwindle that down into this proposal here, that dwindled the total down to $109,000, which would cost about $10,000 of local money that is unaidable, all right? Our building aid ratio is 71%, so on $100,000 expense, we get $71,000 back in the form of aid in the following year. That would include our hoops, our wall padding, our scoreboards, sound system in the middle school gym, so that at home basketball games, we're not setting a boom box on top of the center table there. Divider doors, can we finally remove those in the high school gym? They haven't been open since I've been here. I'm sure people that have been here a lot longer than I have. We did talk about how long Bart's been here a little bit ago. Bart, I don't know if they've been closed, but.
They were closed when I was here.
I'm not even gonna ask how long ago that was,
That's
'cause-
fine, but they
Yeah.
did used to close them.
So,
It's been a while.
they haven't been closed in a very long time, I'll put it that way. And then obviously the electrical in the closets right now could definitely use an overhaul. Revenue shifts, I'm gonna break our revenue sources down into 4 different categories. Our first category is state aid. We know that this has been the most contentious item and honestly what drove the initial $1.4 million budget gap that we had to break down to where we are today. Initially, we were losing $40,000 in state aid. With the latest projections, we're gaining a whopping $12,000. Not what we're used to at this district. Our fund balance, we are looking to just leave that as is, right? We want to roll over the same fund balance number this year that we had, or from this year into next year. That is that $1.775 million.
And what are we used to?
We are, so right, yep, so state aid, I'm just gonna point primarily at foundation aid here. So we saw a big jump in foundation aid last year, and this year we're not, right? This year, we actually see it go down. So foundation aid is the primary caveat to why this number is not very big.
Any sense that the legislature is gonna come up with anything?
I've heard, Randy and I attended the BOCE's budget meeting last night, and they're saying anything from we might find out Sunday to next week to the week after. Things sound good, but again, like I always caution, as good as they may sound, it's a Band-Aid until next year. And I'm always hesitant to just say, hey, we got all this money, let's go spend it, because we want to make sure we sustain it, which I think was one of the things that we did very well with the ARP money, is we spend it on one-ticket items, right? Items that don't cost anything to sustain. So I think we did a very good job with that.
If I may add, just,
Yep.
again, it's all still tea leaves, signing the dotted line,
Right.
but, we have foundation aid, we were spared very many of our neighbors across the state, so looking at over $2 million cuts and such like that. I think
Hudson, let's see.
So theoretically, we kind of anticipate, if they bring back the whole harmless aid, which it sounds pretty confident most people that's going to happen, you're just going to see a smaller flip over, right. About this proposal is right now.
I think any adjustments there are going to be very consistent with the delta that you saw from last year. So if you had a small delta, you're going to see a small increase. If you had a large delta, you're likely to see a larger increase. So if you guys recall last year, we adopted a budget pre the budget being passed at the state level, and again, the plan is the same. If more money is allocated to us in the form of aid, that would offset our ERS reserve and our fund balance contributions to the budget itself. Other revenues that we took a look at, I do want to talk about a few of these that are really jumping off the page at us. And for the first time ever, I'm going to give her a huge shout out, even though she's not paying attention to me right now. Mrs. Castle has done a wonderful job of bringing in students from other districts that is generating a boatload of money, thank you, Shelley, from other districts because of the services that we are able to offer here at our school. With that, we are able to increase our tuition lines from $50,000 to $200,000, and I feel very confident that we will get that and probably exceed that $200,000. We've also, again, utilizing Mary Ann on the way out, and Kelsey since she has come in, both Kelsey and Mary Ann have worked very closely with our banks, with NICLAS specifically. We've also talked to New York Metropolitan Bank, who are offering 5% interest on our money with them. So with that, we've also been earning money hand over fist in the form of interest, which is good. That's allowing us to bring up our revenue side of the budget up to that 36,999, as opposed to where it was before, where it was much lower, hence the gap. This interest income, I wanted to be conservative at $190,000. All right, so last year, if we earned $275,000 in revenue, I don't want to, put that number up there because I don't know that I can sustain it year after year after year. So, we take derivatives of that and we look at different mechanics of what do we think we can guarantee in a conservative fashion. So that really would explain this $50,000 to $190,000 jump. Again, this is something that a lot of districts are seeing. These are conversations that I'm having with colleagues across the area and just asking, hey, what are you guys doing? Do you think this is safe? Because you never know what you might hear from somebody else. And then finally, we get down to the one that most people care about, and that is our beloved tax levy. This year, our tax cap was 2.73% increase, which is just over $540,000 increase from last year's tax cap, our tax levy. And we are asking to go out with that amount, that 2.73% increase, to support this year's budget. So all in all, a summary of the 4 revenue categories that I did give to you. We've got our state aid, our fund balance, our other revenues, and our tax cap, or our tax levy. All in all, these 4 numbers make up our total revenue, which is equal to our total expenditure of $36,999,000, which is a 2.9% increase from last year's budget, or a $969,000 increase from last year's budget. Historically speaking, with regards to the tax levy, the past 2 years, we've been at 2.92%, 2.91%, so in theory, we are looking at what I refer to as a negative tax increase. Our tax increase is less than the last 2 years. Budget to budget staffing. This is the slide that is, I'm sure, going to cause a lot of conversation, but it's something that we as a finance committee have talked about quite a bit. The teaching staff, right? The goal is to maintain program, to maintain staff as best we can. In our teaching staff, we have 3 retirements. We are looking to not replace any of them, but fill their role with existing staff. One of our existing staff is currently a leave replacement, putting them on the probationary track. We are adding 2 new teachers to the budget, and an ELL teacher, which has already been hired, and a special education teacher to start next year. We have 1 reduction to that existing staff and the teaching staff for a net change of 1 less position from this current year to next year. For the clerical staff, we have 2 mid-year retirements as of December. We are looking to replace 1 and not replace the other one through the end of next year. Paraprofessional staff, we have 1 retirement, and we are looking to replace that 1 retirement. We are also looking to provide the opportunity for some aides to transition to become teaching assistants. Facilities and maintenance staff, we've got 1 retirement. We're looking to fill that retirement, but not hire in potentially another area within, or rehire or eliminate a position within that unit. Our non-represented staff, we are reducing 1 existing staff member. In our administration, we have 1 retirement and we are reducing 1 position as well. All in all, I tried to just spell it out as best we could to just be fully transparent with our intention. The impact of the 3 teachers retiring, I wanted to show this, and Randy actually built the next slide, which I think is awesome, because it really shows us what we're looking at with the elementary school, primarily because 2 of those retirees are coming from our elementary schools. So this slide right here is showing you the grade level and the class sizes, the number of sections, et cetera, that we are looking at for next year. Okay? So I'm not gonna go over this entire thing with you. But what I am showing down here at the bottom is our K-6 reading is going from 8 staff members to 6. Our 712 English, by reducing that one teaching position, will have 5 electives either eliminated or absorbed by other teachers. Okay, what does that whole visual look like? So we've got a leave replacement, we've got our grant funded coach. We've got 2 teachers retiring. We've got our coach retiring. Our leave replacement going across becomes probationary. We are pulling from our reading math support to fill these 2 teaching positions, leaving the 2 vacancies in the reading and math support area. And that, again, was a decision and a very long conversation that we had. Okay, budget operationally speaking, not staff related. What are some things we are doing differently next year? We're reducing our operating expenses by $100,000. That is not inclusive to any personnel. Tuition, we're increasing tuition being paid to the district to increase that revenue side of the budget. Stipend positions, we've absorbed 3 of our positions into salaried positions, and our tax collector, district clerk, and extra classroom activities are coming together into a already salaried position, so we're not paying those stipends out in addition. Health and safety, we are contracting with Questar, so we get that 54.4% aid back to us for health and safety. That provides somebody on site to our district once a week. Additional support in our health and safety plans are that we put out, that you guys actually approved in August. And finally, our programs and our extracurriculars are being preserved in this budget. So there is your balanced budget. That's how it got put together. And with that, what questions do you have for me?
I think you did a great job. I know it was a really tricky thing, and we've had several meetings, it was hopeless for a bit, and you've made it so that it's going to work without affecting too many schools. So thank you.
How does it work when, because the tax cap is linked to the assessment value?
No. So the tax cap is linked to your pilots. Your tax cap is linked to the overall value. There's a whole worksheet I'm working off of. So you got pilots, you've got last year's tax cap. So one of the things that has actually hurt our district, and I understand why, I'm not trying to argue with it, but one of the things that has actually hurt our tax cap moving forward is the fact that we didn't go to our tax levy in the past 2 years. It's basically forever lost money, so to speak. So it takes into consideration last year's levies, which is why, again, I pointed out, like, if you didn't go to that max, you're operating from a lower number. It takes into your rent and capital. It takes into account one other thing. I can give you the full breakdown.
So the fact that some assessments went up, that doesn't impact.
I don't believe so, but I will put something together and send it to you guys.
I'm starting to hear questions about that.
The what?
I'm starting to hear questions about that. If my tax assessment has gone up to 100%,
Yeah.
what does that mean for my?
Yeah, so I mean, if your tax value is going up to 100%, we have equalization rates that reduce it. Am I saying they cancel each other out? No, not at all. What I am indicating is that, like, we'll use Athens for an example. They have a 1.0 equalization rate, but their tax rate per thousand went from $18 and changed down to 11. Now, does that mean everything's a wash? Again, no, not at all. Jamie, we've had that conversation 1,000 times, right? So I can give you the full breakdown of what's in there. There's one other thing in there.
But people can test that.
Oh, yeah, you can read your taxes. Yep. We actually, so anytime a tax.
Not with us.
No.
But
With their assessor. Yep. And when they read it, we get an order from the assessor or from a judge, and the judge makes a decision. And then you, as a board, are actually required to approve any tax refunds, so it would go right through you anyway.
So, clarification, so it's a school district in multiple towns, is Athens,
actually hurts them. Oh, glad I got it right. So the fact that one of our 4 townships is at 100 hurts us because the equalization you'll actually see will drop in others, and then the rates will continue to climb. And then the overall true value will then be offset because the percentages are, you know, they're true in the state of the eyes, but in favor to the person in that.
I don't know.
Say it one more time, sir.
Some more communication around that, so people know.
Yeah,
feel
yep.
that the school district is.
I will happily make another tax time video and post it on our website, because I did enjoy that. But the, you know, one of the, Randy and I have actually been talking to the IDA because 2 of our local pilots negotiated out of a pilot, but to now pay our local tax rate per thousand, right? 2 issues we have with that. If they're paying our local tax rate per thousand, but why are they paying a pilot? Because if I've got a $5 million property and I'm paying the tax rate per thousand, but it's not on the tax rolls, it's killing these guys. It's killing us, it's killing anybody that lives here. So why are they doing that? And when we call the IDA, they say it's instead of this, instead of that, it's basically the whole New York answer in order. You know, other things that are to be considered as well. What's that? And they're freezing it. So when you freeze something, I'll riddle you this. So let's use a house in Athens. If we froze, let's use your house. Let's say you live in a $12 million house. You file a reassessment, it gets reassessed to $8 million. If it gets reassessed to $8 million, but we freeze it there, and your equalization rate went from 0.65 to 1, your tax rate per thousand just went from 18 to 11. Where's all that revenue come from? Everybody else. So that's the issue we're fighting right now with the with the IDA and anybody arguing our pilots, except for us, is everything keeps falling away from the responsibility of these massive companies that are coming in that are supposed to be on predetermined pilots because they don't want to honor the life of their pilot and honor the assessment that they have. So I think it's ridiculous. I was fuming in Randy's office one day. Glad I was right though. So it's always embarrassing when you're wrong.
Another issue has been, a lot of things we've started with the assessors, over-assess the value of the properties. And not only sympathy for companies, but that they want to get it back to reality.
Ryan, I just want to point out to the general public that the administration has been meeting with the budget committee for over 2 months.
Yep.
And we've been asking 100 different questions. So, you know, a lot of questions were asked about the budget to get to this point where we're at now.
That has been an ever-developing.
Yes, it has. Slide 85. Right here. 85. Any other questions for me?
What is the 85?
There's
Is that
85
first?
total. There's 85 total slides that we've reviewed this year.
Oh,
Yeah, because I just keep adding.
yeah.
So there's content I can reuse. Not reinventing the wheel. Okay. Thank you.